I was shocked to learn how many planes and helicopters Russia lost during the war in Ukraine. By the end of this short video, you will know how and why Russia suffers crushing air losses. And also, you will reevaluate your view of military aviation in modern wars. The greatest losses of military aviation Russia suffered in the first days of the war. On February 24th, a massive missile strike was launched early in the morning on Ukrainian territory. The Russian command expected to destroy all Ukrainian airfields along with aircraft, as well as all air defense systems, establishing so-called air superiority. Then the Russian Air Force moved into Ukraine without expecting resistance. But then something unexpected happened. Russian helicopters and planes began to fall, one by one. Already in the first 5 days of the invasion, Russia had lost more than 150 helicopters and planes altogether. It turned out that Ukraine had previously hidden most of its planes and its air defense systems. And low-flying helicopters were shot down by Stinger missiles, of which Ukraine had more than enough. Now realizing that air superiority had not been achieved, the Russians significantly reduced their use of aircraft, limiting it to the front lines, but they still continue to suffer casualties. According to official Ukrainian data, as of June 21st of this year, Russia had lost 216 aircraft and 181 helicopters. Perhaps the Ukrainian authorities exaggerate a little, but after evaluating various sources, including data from Western intelligence agencies, I have concluded that this data is close to the truth. The maximum deviation could be 24 units, but it does not change the essence. Moreover, while you're watching this clip, Russia continues to lose its combat aircraft. Are these large losses for Russia? The Pentagon estimates that it's a quarter of all combat aviation in Russia. They haven't lost this many aircraft units since World War II. This is actually a very significant loss, and here's why. First of all, it's very expensive. You have to understand that a military strike aircraft or helicopter is not a car. They are very complicated machines with very expensive technological insides. Russia loses different types of aircraft. For example, the Ukrainians shot down several state-of-the-art Su-35s worth $100 million. But mainly Russia loses cheaper planes like the MiG-29, Su-25, Su-27, and Su-30. Their average cost is in the range of $20 million. Strike helicopters like the Ka-52 cost about $15 million. If you add these figures together, it turns out to be a huge amount of more than $5 billion. But this is not even about money. The second side of Russian losses is high-class pilots. By losing airplanes, Russia has already lost hundreds of its best pilots, those of which who had been training for many years. It takes a pilot 3 to 5 years of training and practice to fly a combat aircraft perfectly. The loss of pilots is already affecting the nature of combat operations. In the first place, Russia has begun to use aviation less frequently, primarily because of the shortage of pilots. Secondly, the Ukrainians have already captured pilots several times who had ejected from downed planes. They turned out to be former officers who had long since retired, or mercenaries with very little experience. This also indicates a shortage of pilots. Surely also many pilots refuse to fly combat missions, realizing that the risks are too great. Finally, the third loss is the time Russia will need to rebuild. After all, it may take Russia more than 15 years to build new planes and helicopters under the most severe sanctions. The supply chain for components is not just destroyed, but completely blocked by sanctions. There is even a risk that Russia will never be able to restore its aircraft fleet to its former level. It will also take a long time to train new pilots. Taking all this into account, I can assume that in modern warfare, strike aviation is not crucial and is not as effective as it used to be. If the enemy has any air defense systems at all, it nullifies the whole point of military aviation. Casualties become too sensitive and unjustifiable. A $40,000 Stinger missile can easily shoot down a $15 million helicopter along with an experienced pilot. These are unjustifiable losses. What really matters in this war is long-range artillery combined with accurate intelligence. It is this combination that can decide the outcome of a modern battle, and it's obvious that the stakes have already been placed on both sides. Well, if you want to get more of our videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel right now.